Alrighty, happy Monday, everybody. We are back for another Monday Miracle, and tonight we are talking about a kiddo who was regressing in some motor and speech milestones, we'll call them, and is now doing absolutely awesome. So if you have not heard of our Monday Miracles before, we just get on and real quick talk about some wins that kiddos or families had in the office over the past week or so. And this one is a 10-month-old, and mom found us because she was concerned that baby was starting to regress, and she was noticing baby had been crawling and then kind of stopped crawling. Baby had been starting to communicate, and whether that's with actual speech, very minimal as a 10-month-old. However, what she noticed was that she wasn't making eye contact as much. And she wasn't just responding or as alert like when calling her name or things like that. And so she was starting to get concerned. And she's a 10-month-old, so she had some concerns even of starting to, going down the rabbit holes of, is this autism, or, what, is there something more going on here? And so we had her come in and, we let her know, autism is not something we diagnose for. That's not our role. However, with our nervous system scans, we can identify if there is some stress stuck in the nervous system. And if so, that can absolutely be leading to some of the things that you're seeing. So sure enough, we ran the scans. And what we see is what we call a subluxation, and that is when stress is stuck in the nervous system. And we talk about it almost like a blown fuse or a traffic jam. And the reason why we talk about that is because when the stress in the system builds to a certain point, oftentimes then communication out to the other systems from the brain and nervous system is diminished. And how that has to do with everything I was talking about in terms of interaction and crawling, motor development. Oh, another thing was that she had regressed in some of her eating, like she was starting to get just super picky and wasn't really eating a whole lot and that type of thing. And so anyway, the way that happens is the nerves, right, through our spinal column, through our neurospinal column, go out to the rest of the body and tell it what to do, right? So if there are stress in certain areas, all of a sudden, sometimes motor milestones can be a little bit tricky for kids to reach, or we can see some of this regression like we were seeing with her. It can also cause issues with speech, right? We are not doing anything teaching a kid how to speak, right? That is absolutely not our role. That would be a speech language pathologist, right, that you're looking for on that side of things. But we see so often is that a lot of these kiddos, when it comes to speech, it's not that they can't make the sounds, it's oftentimes that they're not able to process. And right, if you think about what language is they're taking in information and we have to process, our body has to communicate that, and then out comes the word, right, or the noise or whatever it may be. And she wasn't processing, right? She was not able to process as strongly as she had previously because the stress had just built up into her system. And so she was having some trouble with that. But the awesome thing is she is only, 2.5 weeks into care, and mom is already noticing all of these things improving. Now that's pretty quick. But when you're 10 months old, there's not as much of this buildup of years and years. And so the releases and that stress getting out of there happens faster and faster. So she is starting to crawl. Mom and dad were in here the other day, and it was like we're having that conversation of, obviously it's awesome, but also now they're having a baby-proof house and all of those types of things, because all of a sudden baby's just, dad said, just crawling all over the place, which is absolutely amazing. She's already immediately making better eye contact with me. She's smiling more. Mom was saying she's noticing that she's starting to eat a little bit more and not be as picky with her diet as well. And on top of that, which are things that we were looking at in terms of not the concerns that mom brought her in for, but are things that when we're going through are absolutely concerns that we have as well, is she wasn't sleeping as well, and she was only having a bowel movement every couple days, and that has immediately changed as well. Mom noticed she's sleeping way more, to the point where actually she was a little concerned, and I was like, oh no, that's a good thing. We love sleep. Sleep is super important because that's when we heal, and so she's using up all this energy to heal, and so she's sleeping a little bit more, which is great as well. And then mom got this huge sigh of relief. She did have her evaluated from birth to 3, which is super important, right? That's not our role, so we wanted to give her that support as well. And she didn't qualify, which of course was a nice deep breath for mom. So she's rocking and rolling. She's growing. Happy Monday. Happy Monday Miracle.